here on a Saturday morning, January 16th, 2016. I'm Roger Castillo, sitting in alongside me, the usual two suspects to my left over here, Freddie Bello. Freddie.
Suspects. What's up? Freddie the Pizza Man here. There's a suspect right out of jail.
Yes, hello.
To my north, it would be my northwest, northeast, right?
Yeah, I think I'm at your northeast, yeah.
And then we got my two special guests here. Our two special guests, excuse me. Jeremy Otto and Brendan Johns, who, if you may well know, they're still on Mary Grove College Network, but they're transitioning now to Madonna University. And first of all, congratulations on going to be Crusaders, part of the WAC, the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference.
Big shooters, man.
Yeah.
Big shooters, man.
The former U of M Dearborn alumni. I know that Madonna's got will always have a better basketball team, as U of M struggles to even get 10 wins every season, but I digress. Gentlemen, how's it going?
Going pretty good. You know, it's funny you mentioned U of M Dearborn. They did beat Madonna the other night in men's basketball. Our team did defeat Madonna, so I'll give you that. But good to be here on a Saturday morning, ready to talk sports and get this thing going.
And I know we had a lot of fun last time out, and we're glad you guys invited us back here today. So it's exciting to be up here early in the morning. I know I'm going to go head to Madonna after this, and Brendan's going to go coach and maybe get a technical today. But
we'll see.
Have you got a technical yet, Brendan? Yet?
Not this year. Last year I did.
Yeah.
Not this year. I think I earned one this year. I didn't get it. That was kind of disappointing, but oh well.
Did you go to the Mike D'Antonio press conference yesterday?
No, I did not.
No, just checking, see if you got there.
Just checking. Okay.
Yeah. I heard he was kind of gloomy yesterday.
He might have been.
He was a little pissed. I don't know why he was pissed off.
It's crazy.
What's he pissed off about? Was something happen?
I don't know. He did make the college football playoff. I don't know what's the problem.
Oh, he did? I didn't even know it. Did they score a point?
Yeah, hey, they still got that.
Hey, what happened with Notre Dame there, Freddie?
They lost. What
happened to Michigan State?
What happened to Michigan? Yeah, they won. What did they win? 40-7 or something like that?
Absolutely.
They beat Florida, who looked like a high school team.
Matter of fact, Jim Harbaugh's back there right now, sleeping on a little piece of carpet right there, watching our show.
I think he's thinking about how he messed up the Michigan State game.
I'll give you that. He did mess that up, buddy. I'll give you that, brother. He messed that up.
We went Norton's little visit today.
He'll never mess up again. Hey, Norton.
Let's talk about. There's a lot of things going on this week, and there's been a big week with Jim Harbaugh's that whole thing going on with recruiting wise, and Michigan doing some heavy recruiting after national championship. Jim Harbaugh was at the Union. There's a lot to get to with that, but I do want to start with what happened yesterday. Now, right over here, about 5 minutes away from Freddie's restaurant, Jim Caldwell is coming back, and I think it was an unanimous decision to bring him back. And I mean, Martha Ford wanted him back, the players wanted him back, the coordinators wanted him back, and it was a no-brain decision. But I'm going to start over here with Brendan about what do you think that in terms, and I'll work my way around this, but I think it was the right decision. I mean, you didn't want to come in making a move to be that guy and kind of set the precedent for going, well, I'm going to bring my guy in. Mm-hmm. He's going to give him a chance and legitimately go about it. What do you think?
I agree that it was the right move because who are they going to bring in? I'm not a big Josh McDaniels guy. I don't think that that's the right hire. Tell me a guy that he was going to bring in and you convince me that, he's going to be better than Caldwell. Fine, we can talk. But it was his fallout option. You give Jim Caldwell another year. You give him a chance. You have the players, the ownership, that entire organization on the inside supporting him. You give him a chance to come back. He's 18-14 in 2 years. He's got a playoff appearance. Almost had a playoff win with the Lions. Not something you can say about a lot of Lions coaches. So he has had success here in Detroit. I don't really think it was a bad move to bring him back.
Who's supporting him, by the way, in the organization when you say that? Martha Ford?
Martha Ford, the players. Everybody wanted him back on the inside.
But isn't it like a country club feel, though? I mean, does it really matter what the players? Does it really matter what the players think when you're 7-9?
I think that you could say that when you're the Lions and you have zero success, if there's something that makes the players happy and they want to rally around him and they play hard for him like they did at the end of the year. And I know they played bad teams and they didn't play top-notch talent when they played the first half of the year, the tougher schedule they lost, but things did change, and I think the other thing is they liked the coordinators. Jim Bob Cooter, Terrell Austin, that's a huge reason why Jim Caldwell's back. They all like Jim Caldwell on the inside, but if they had Joe Lombardi there still, I think that right there alone may have cost the whole staff their job.
But that's what gets me though, because when they were 1-7, they checked out for Jim Caldwell. They didn't rally around him then. Golden Tate, week 3 against, I want to say it was the Bears or some game.
Denver. I think it was Denver.
He checked out. He checked out. He had alligator arms. He wasn't running routes. And he even admitted on the radio station that he kind of was checked out. How come they didn't rally around him then? The problem with Jim, the reason why they rally around Jim Caldwell is because they give him days off. They don't let him. He doesn't let him practice in pads on Mondays. He doesn't. He gives him an extra day off after a win. When they're 1-6, they came back from London. They got destroyed. They gave him a week off. See, that's why they rally around Jim Caldwell. To keep Jim Caldwell, to me, is an utter disgrace, because you're keeping the guy that you fired Tom Lewan, you fired Martin Mayhew, and you're keeping their guy that they handpicked. To me, it's another disgrace.
Well, but who else are you going to go out and get?
Tom Coughlin. He's a proven winner at Boston College, Jacksonville, New York Giants. He's got 2 Super Bowls. He's got the same Super Bowl wins as Bill Parcells.
If Tom Coughlin flies to Detroit and is ready to sign the piece of paper, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'm not solely with them. I'm not solely with. If that was the case,
yeah, he wanted
I'm
his staff.
100% with you.
Yeah.
I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be the case.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, let me ask you this then, in terms of, if Tom Coughlin, Brady brings up Tom Coughlin, does his age bring you concern? I mean, his age, he's only close to what, he's 73 or something like that? I mean,
No, 69.
69.
Yep.
So,
That's a good age to be.
Yep.
Well, I think a little bit of his age does come into play, but at the same time, how old is Caldwell? He's getting up there. You may want to retire in a couple of years.
Jack McKeon won the World Series. He was 75, right? 2003.
Absolutely.
I think the key is right now is, if you can do it, is keep Terrell Austin. You need to keep him here.
Mm-hmm.
And if Caldwell doesn't work out this year, or if Caldwell wants to retire in 3 years, and he becomes your head coach. I'm kind of surprised that was never discussed. Maybe it was. I mean, it was never discussed in the media. Maybe they were discussing a little bit within the Lions organization. But why didn't they give him a shot? I'm kind of ho-hum about the whole Caldwell thing. I think middle of the season, I would say maybe they shouldn't have kept him. But at this point, with the success that Jim Bob Cooter had the last 7 games or so, I think it was necessary to keep that, and hopefully to keep Austin in the end. I think it'll be a good decision, at least short term. Long term, I have no idea. And like I said, if they can keep Austin around, maybe he becomes your next head coach. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen? If they don't make it to the playoffs, or Caldwell goes 1-5 in the first 6 games, they're all going to look at Bob. They're all going to look at Bob Quinn and say, "Dude, we brought you here, and you kept this guy, and this is what you did." That's why when they gave him the 5-year deal, I said it right off the bat. As soon as they gave him a 5-year deal, they gave him an extra year to say, you know what? Because if they would have fired Jim Caldwell, they'd be eating 2 years off his contract. So if he's making $4 million, it's $8 million. So let's give Quinn an extra year. Let's give Caldwell an extra year. So instead of eating the $8 million, we're just going to give him an extra year and not eat that money, and maybe it'll work out. That's probably what they're thinking, and But to me, like I said, it's utter disgrace.
Here's the thing about Tom Coughlin. We talked about the Lions missing the playoffs, Jim Caldwell missing the playoffs. He's made the playoffs 50% of his seasons here in Detroit, obviously 1 and 2. Tom Coughlin missed the playoffs 4 consecutive years with the Giants.
He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He's got, 3 or 4 championship. He's got an NFC championship game under his belt. Or no, excuse me, AFC with the Jacksonville, and he's got 2 with the Giants.
True, but I'm just saying, even Tom Coughlin, who we regard as a very good coach, misses the playoffs. I'm not sure 1 year of the Lions missing the playoffs all of a sudden means Jim Caldwell's got to go. This is the wrong guy. He's not going to lead any success. Yeah. I'm not convinced on that just yet.
My thing on Tom Coughlin is if he comes here and they lose like they did in Kansas City, they're practicing in pads the next day. And they might say, we can't stand Tom Coughlin, but you know what? They're going to respect him and they're going to play harder. And then what's going to end up happening when they play harder and they practice harder? They're going to win. They're going to win playoff games. They're going to win divisions. They're going to win Super Bowls. Jim Caldwell, you're not going to get that. Absolutely. If he keeps his, you're not going to get that with him.
Keep the status quo, if you will.
Exactly.
At the end of the year, though, didn't they play hard? And the other thing is, Jim Caldwell does have a very physical football team. It's not like they go out and they're playing soft. They're not making hits. They're not doing the little things. That's a very physical team. I was listening to somebody say, Jim Schwartz came to Detroit and he wanted to have a physical team, but he had a dirty team.
Yeah.
Jim Caldwell came to Detroit. He's got a physical team, and I think the players respect him enough to play at that physicality level.
Let me ask. I'm going to ask Pete Spivak this question here, and the question I was thinking about. There's a lot of you look around the league, and when the hires and I'm asking you this too, Freddie. This question applies to both you guys. Right now, you see some of the hires. You see, for example, Ben McAdoo got hired on as the Giants, kind of okay, and then you got Doug Peterson.
Head scratcher.
Yeah, Doug Peterson, Dirk Cotter. Some of these coordinators, it's been kind of like a kind of thing. I mean, the Miami hire I think is a good one for the Dolphins overall, but what's out there, Pete? Is it really? I mean, what else? Is there anybody else that really kind of woos you as the Lions job?
Well, I don't think that's what woos me or what woos the fans or what woos the Lions players. I think it's what woos Bob Quinn, and Bob Quinn wanted Josh McDaniels. I think that was just...
Despite his 11-17 record?
Despite the 11-17 record, because he's the guy that could help mold Matt Stafford into more of a much better quarterback and probably work with Josh McDaniels is the type of guy you'd want here to help improve an offense without Calvin Johnson. I mean, you got some pretty good wide receivers coming out in the draft this year. They're going to need to replace Calvin if he's not happy with what's going on. I think that keeping Caldwell here, I think we're forgetting that Bob Quinn, there's always a chance of him being lionized. We can't forget that. I mean, that's part of the deal is being lionized when you become part of the Lions organization. I think that he may have kept Caldwell because that's what Calvin wants. And as weird as that sounds, why wouldn't you want your best wide receiver in your first year to be on your team? And I think that maybe Bob Quinn's move, as much as everybody seems to love it and all that stuff, I think it was meant for Calvin. He's trying to get Calvin back here.
Call or text in 313-888-3538. About that Stanford angle, Freddie, do you agree with that? I mean, in terms of mentoring, if McDaniel did come?
Well, I mean, Jim Bob Cooter is the one he's played well under. McDaniels. I wouldn't have been opposed to Josh McDaniels. I mean, he's got a playoff win. Let's face it. And Tim Tebow was his quarterback. So, and they beat a pretty good Pittsburgh team.
Exactly, but he made Tim Tebow a winner.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have been opposed to that. The only thing with Josh McDaniels though is he's kind of a Jim Schwartz type of guy. He's a dick. I mean, basically, let's face it.
Doesn't this team need to be tougher? He'd be the perfect guy to just beat these guys down.
Yeah, but the difference is
depends how good of a handshake.
But the difference is making them tough and being a Jim Schwartz was all about him. Wear his pants tight, look at my ass.
That's why I made the handshake joke.
Yeah, so the Doug Peterson thing. What's kind of funny is in Philly, I think they miss Andy Reid, and the guy basically got his guy back. So if you're asking me about Josh McDaniels, I wouldn't have been opposed to that. But
was there another candidate out there that you really outside of Tom Coughlin, which I know you've been a big fan of, even
that's true.
For Giants, but there's somebody else out there, another coordinator that you really liked out there?
What I would have done, and I was kind of saying it for about a month now, if you're going to go with a first-year guy and not go with Tom Coughlin, hire Jim Bob Cooter. I mean, he's a young... Wait a second. You make him your coach... And that's your Bob Quinn. If Bob Quinn liked him, make him your head coach or Terrell Austin. Either one. Make them start fresh with a new voice. Cooter ain't going nowhere because Matt Stafford likes him. And I've been on the record saying that it was Matt Stafford that went to Martha Ford after Caldwell walked out of that press conference and says, you know what? Get Lombardi out of here. I'm your franchise quarterback. Give me Jim Bob Cooter. I can't prove it. But it kind of came out a couple weeks ago that Matt Stafford kind of went upstairs and said, get rid of Lombardi. And since Lombardi's been gone, Jim Bob Cooter's worked magic with him.
Yeah.
To let him throw downfield.
That's very true. But Jim Bob Cooter's been a coordinator for 6 weeks.
You're right.
7
You're
weeks.
right.
I think it's much, much safer to leave Jim Caldwell as the head coach. Because if Jim Bob Cooter is that good and does that much with Matt Stafford as the offensive coordinator, the Lions will have success on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, tell me a game that Jim Caldwell won for you in 2 years. Tell me a game.
I guess I'd have to think about it, but I would think the first year he comes in, they go 11-5. It was a change of culture.
Let me answer this real quick.
I think Jim Caldwell did a lot of very good things in his first year in Detroit because he came in and he took a dirty team and
good, how you doing?
Turned them into a physical team
it's Friday
that
pizza
wanted
man.
to play.
Absolutely.
Hey, Eddie, how you doing?
We got a caller.
Hold on a second.
I'll put it on speaker. I got it. We're doing a technology thing here, and
I got a caller calling in. More or less.
okay, there we go.
Hold on, Eddie.
Eddie.
Yeah.
There he is.
There he is.